Today, we're going to continue our two-part series on tips for public speaking for professionals. If you missed the first part, I've added the link in the description below. In that video, we talked about 5 tips: speech writing, the importance of practice, avoiding filler words, using the right pace, and how to start your speech. And in this video, we're going to talk about 5 more tips to help you improve your public speaking by leaps and bounds. So without further ado, let's get into it. Big tip number 1, voice. Do you dislike the sound of your own voice? Maybe when you hear yourself recorded or when you see a video of you speaking on a stage? I used to cringe at the sound of listening to my voice, so you're not alone. Many people hate it. But we have also heard at least one person whose voice we envy. That one person whose voice is truly beautiful and we love listening to it. The good news is that with proper guidance and deliberate practice, you too can have a beautiful sounding voice in a relatively short period of time. You can do that by regular enunciation practice, articulation practice, like tongue twisters, and even diaphragmatic breathing. Today, I'm going to show you a little exercise that you can do from your home to make your voice sound more beautiful, avoid monotony, and increase your vocal range to make your voice sound interesting. Before we get into the exercise, did you know that our voice has about 30 vocal notes, but many of us are only using 1 or 2 of them? And this exercise will help us unlock many more vocal notes. So now let's practice. We're going to practice one of my favorite quotes by His Highness the Aga Khan. The right to hope is the most powerful human motivation I know. Did you hear that? I tried to speak in a monotone voice. That is like the baseline. Now let's try increasing the vocal range. The right to hope is the most powerful human motivation I know. Was it a little bit better? Let's try playing with it even more. The right to hope is the most powerful human motivation I know. The right to hope is the most powerful human motivation I know. The right to hope is the most powerful human motivation I know. Now I know you might be laughing at me, thinking that sounds fake, Danish. I know, you might not do this in a real life communication setting. However, this is a practice, something that you can do from your home to help you increase your vocal range, to go from just a couple of notes to unlocking all 30. Big tip number 2, the substance. Did you know that at any given point, only a few people are actually listening to what you are saying? And that makes it very important to move in cycles and emphasize your main point a couple of times. This does not mean that you repeat the same sentence again and again. It means going back to your main idea or your point by using different tools like humor, anecdotes, verbal punctuation, questions, and examples. Patrick Winston's lecture on how to speak is a great resource on this topic of the substance of speech, and I'll put the link in the description below. That hour-long video is worth every minute. He explains the elements of good structure, or what we call the body of your speech. Big tip number 3, visual aids. Before diving in, I just want to say that there are so many different types of visual aids available to us that I might just do another long video dedicated to that. But to keep things short, here are my go-to visual aids. Whiteboards for meetings and lectures, props like pen or a marker, showing pictures on screens, and last but not least, a slide deck. While I do see the power in presentations, the point that people often miss is how to make them uncluttered. All puns intended. Visual aids are a great tool to make your speech more memorable. And when you see an opportunity for a visual aid, slip them right in. Let's talk about slides, because that's the most common visual aid people use. On the left-hand side, you will see a slide with all the crimes that a speaker can commit. And on the right hand side, you have the ideal slide. Remove all distractions and focus only on your main ideas. Your job is to make the audience focus on you and not your slides. You are the subject, the slides are just the object that's going to help you deliver a great presentation. Big tip number 4, ending a speech. Now, let's talk about how you can end your speech. This can actually be a controversial subject depending on who you ask. In our previous video, we talked about how to open a speech, and people often use the same tools to end their speech the same way. Can you guess what's the most common way people end their speech? It's by saying thank you. How do I know? I watched hundreds of TED Talks, scrolled to the very last 5-10 seconds, and that's what I saw. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Now, if you want to be like everyone else, sure, you can go ahead and say thank you. It's not that bad, but you won't stand out that much. Instead, I would recommend a few different ways. The first one would be to have a call to action. If you go and watch my TED Talk, right after I show how my app actually recorded my talk, I say, check it out. And that's it. That was my call to action for everyone. In some other circumstance, you might have a call to action like, so join us in this journey, or so support us on this endeavor. So that's the first way, have a call to action. The second way could be ending with Q&A or questions and answers. I do that sometimes at work presentations where I present the main idea or presentation, and then I transition by saying, that brings us to the end of the presentation. I'll now move on to questions and answers. This usually opens up your presentation to more interactivity, which is actually good. But the thing to be careful here is to moderate your questions really well, especially when there's a large audience. Audience members love to take a long time asking a question and might spend even 2 minutes making some statements and then asking a question. If that's the case, just remind your audience to be specific, concise with their questions, and to make it related to your presentation. And if you have too many questions and not enough time left, just end by saying, to respect everyone's time, we'll end the questions and answers. I'm leaving my contact information on the slides above if you'd like to reach out. And that's it. A third way to end your speech could be by showcasing some of your work, your contributions, or maybe a future roadmap of your work. And finally, instead of saying a thank you, you could just make a body language gesture like maybe a salute, maybe take a bow to indicate that you're concluding your presentation or speech. Big tip number 5, measure and improve. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. Peter Drucker. If you want to make massive improvements to your speaking, you must measure it. Measure everything. Measure your practice sessions, measure your real speaking events. We would recommend recording your own speech, either using your phone, a camera, asking a friend, or using the Ori app. And then taking notes on where you did well and where you could improve. And if you use the Ori app to record, it'll automatically do that for you. It'll give you suggestions on places where you can improve, and it'll congratulate you on places where you did a great job. The idea is to get better every time you speak. Good and actionable feedback can actually speed up your level of learning and take you a long way with any skill you want to improve on, including public speaking. And that brings me to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it and found it insightful, please give us a like, leave a comment below, and tell us what else would you like to learn from us. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get more tips on everything to do with public speaking and communication. Until next time.